I recently realized something pretty funny about my YouTube channel. I'm not really saying anything interesting. Let's take this video for example, how America hijacked global politics. Do you really need an Eastern European boy in your life to explain how America got so big, how it became so powerful? No, you can probably ask ChatGPT and it will give you all of the information in 1/10 of the time and be 100 times more informed. Why learn how to code when ChatGPT can do it instantly? Why bother learning languages when we already have apps that are translating everything in real time? But also, why did chess become so much more popular after computers mastered it? Because you see, when AI manages to do something new, completely new, that it hasn't been able to do before, it's almost as if it makes those abilities irrelevant. The abilities necessary to do that thing irrelevant. But in reality, it makes them 100 times more valuable and sought after, just not in an economic sense. Probably because people value the human interaction in chess, the logical pathways it is forced to go through, the paths in life it takes you through. What about factory workers? In this case, AI will probably fully replace it because its sole purpose is economic interest and productivity. There are people, at least from what I've met here in Bucharest, that actively dream about working in a factory. And more importantly, the movement, the actual labor is easily automized. It's just a movement. Nobody's going to take a course on how to close a lid. Nobody actually wants to be working on canned food for the rest of their lives. But what they will do is take a Spanish course. But why? Artificial intelligence has already kind of sucked the purpose and utility of learning foreign languages. There are apps that can translate in real time. You can install them on your phone, and there's no need to learn Mandarin, German, French. No need at all. And even currently, there are a lot of monolingual people who have seen a lot of success, even if that language that they speak isn't English. But imagine for a second if Elon actually manages to implement that piece of technology which allows translation in real time. You say something and the other person hears it in their language in real time and there's no need for a translator. Who would be, in that case, the intellectual elite? I'll tell you, the people who are able to walk around without having to use a fucking machine to communicate. What happens to programming? If ChatGPT is able to write code at the speed of light, no matter the programming language you choose, no matter the sophistication of the functions, then how does programming keep its economic value? Why are programmers still so well paid? Why is programming still a worthwhile skill to learn? Well, because ChatGPT can only write code. It cannot create software. And in its own words, it is way too complicated to understand messy human needs and business restrictions. It needs a lot of guidance in order to do that. But remember, it can't do all of these things people are currently hired to do yet. The things AGI will never be able to do, let's say by definition, let's say by biological definition, never be able to do, are the things that are inherently human. Things like mother's warmth are replaceable. As we know from the monkey experiment, it doesn't even involve AI, it just involves, I don't know, a piece of fur, and that seems like enough. But the feeling of having accomplished something you get when you hug your mother and you feel her love, and you also feel as if you're giving her your love, probably can be replaced. Sexual gratification will be supplemented, but actually knowing that a person might care for you and they might love you and you might also love them and you might also care for them is something completely distinct from just fucking a robot who simulates that sentiment. There's the answer to the question. What will AI not replace? The things that define being human. We might program it to feel emotions. I don't know who would be stupid enough to do that, but we might program it to feel emotions. But I do not think we will use AI as a counterpart to humans. I would still prefer to hug my mother instead of hugging a fucking robot replica of her. Most of the things on Maslow's hierarchy of needs will never be replaced by AGI, no matter how good it gets. Some people might feel insanely hurt by the lack of work they have because the machinery is replacing that work. But that just means we need to shift what we see valuable in society, making our occupation not the thing that defines our character, making the thing that defines our character how we treat everybody around us, what we think of ourselves in the first place, what we like doing, all of the things that are positive things to associate with your character. We would ironically finally get to learn for the real reason we should be learning in the first place, for ourselves and our own self-improvement, not for the workforce, not preparing for the workforce. Unfortunately, that is only if politics plays by the same rules and by the same game and by the same set of cards, synonyms, which it probably will not do. Because having your country's unemployment rate over 90% is pretty hard to accept. It would be a titanic change. I do not think it will happen in the next 100 years. Maybe in the next 1,000. In fact, mark my words, future generations. Mark my words, great grandchildren. It will happen in the next 1,000 years. But who knows what conservatives will do, what greed will cause. Because if there's anything about conservatives, they tend to conserve society, not evolve it. Also, that is partly the reason why I center my channel around philosophy, of course, AI, and politics, because all of these three things are directly and indirectly linked in one way or another. In conclusion, yes, AI will replace your job, if it hasn't already. But the problem-solving mind of an engineer, the languages you have to learn to become a translator, a language teacher, or a programmer, the altruism you develop as a doctor, the physique of a construction worker, those things will never be able to be supplemented through AI. Our bodies, our minds, everything that makes us human will never be replaced. Maybe it will, but whatever. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm kind of sleepy and you can see a shadow on the left part of my head. I'm going to the gym after this. Not gym, to my calisthenics park. So excuse the casual wear. Enjoy the bracelets, the veiny arm, the one vein on the arm, and yeah, I'll see you later. And don't worry, AI will replace you. But if the world is steering towards the correct direction, it will replace you in a good way. See you later, and stronger than ever.